Matthew 5:13. You are the salt of the earth. But if salt has lost its taste, how shall its saltiness be restored? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled under people's feet. Jesus now turns directly to the disciples and speaks to them in the second person. He has so far been speaking in the third person, and he now looks the disciples in the eyes and speaks to them as they have just endured this heavy persecution for the righteousness that they have sought. And he tells them, you, in the persecution, with the persecution that you are enduring, the suffering, the reviling, the mockery, the shaming, you are the salt of the earth. The salt of the earth, what does that mean? I think the salt of the earth means that they, by means of them, the world is being preserved, as it were. They are a witness to the world. And he says to them, that is who you are. So do not think that because the world hates you, that you are useless to the earth. Do not think that because unbelievers revile you, members of your family revile you and mock you and persecute you, do not interpret that for uselessness. You are the salt of your family. You are the salt of the earth. You are the salt of the very city that is persecuting you. You are witnessing to them what will preserve them for all of eternity. You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt lost its taste, we know, don't we, that salt does not lose its taste. What does Jesus mean when he says, if the salt has lost its taste, how shall it be salt? How shall its saltiness be restored? What does Jesus mean? Jesus, I believe, means that it's true that the salt cannot lose its taste, but you who are mine kingdom people, you may forfeit your righteousness if you adulterate yourself because of persecution, you compromise and you embrace worldly patterns of life because you are being persecuted. Jesus says, no, I don't want you to lose your saltiness. I want you to maintain the witness that you are in the midst of persecution. Do not give up pursuing being merciful, seeking purity of heart and being a peacemaker. Do not cease representing me. Do not adulterate me with other things. Do not mix who you are. Do not embrace qualities of the world. Do not lose your tastes. Do not. The things he has told them, poor in spirit. We should not lose that. Do not lose your poverty of spirit. Do not lose your mourning heart. Do not lose your meekness. Do not lose your hunger and thirst for righteousness. Do not lose your mercifulness. Do not lose your purity of heart and your peacemaking. Let these things remain true of you in the midst of persecution. Do not give up on these things. Do not give up your saltiness, your poverty of heart, your mourning over your corruption, your meekness towards others and towards God, your hunger and your thirst for righteousness, your mercifulness, your purity of heart, your peacemaking will be a blessing to your family, to your nation, to your city, and to the people who even now are persecuting you. Do not give up on these values that Jesus has taught. If you do, he says, how shall its saltiness be restored? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. Those who perish under persecution and give up the pursuit of righteousness and give up the hunger for righteousness prove that they were not really changed in the heart and become useless. But Jesus does not want us to be useless to our families. Jesus does not want us to be useless to our friends. Jesus wants us to be a people whose lives becomes the means by which others see and know and are preserved for eternity. May God help us to be the salt of the earth for the glory of Christ and not compromise our saltiness by embracing the adulterous ways of the world. For Jesus' sake. Amen.